everyone, my name is Rowan Hayes Games. Today, this is the first episode of my new series, Star Wars Analyzed. In this series, I will give an in-depth analyzation on every Star Wars movie. I will analyze, give my opinions about, and explain every Star Wars movie. This is the first episode. This episode will be Star Wars: The Phantom Menace and why it was unsatisfying. Okay, so I gotta give some basic information first. So, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace was the fourth Star Wars movie released, or fifth if you include the holiday special. It was released in 1999 and was the first Star Wars movie to be released in 16 years. There are pretty mixed results about this film. A lot of people liked it, but a lot of people, like me, also felt it was kind of unsatisfying. And today I will explain why some people, including myself, think like that. The story of Phantom Menace starts with two Jedi named Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi. If you've watched any other Star Wars movie, you likely know Obi-Wan Kenobi. And Qui-Gon, while only appearing in this movie, is a very good character. Obi-Wan in this movie is kind of average, but Qui-Gon is actually, in my opinion, the best Jedi in all of Star Wars. Except maybe Luke. Qui-Gon Jinn is a Jedi Master who wields a green lightsaber, while Obi-Wan is Qui-Gon Jinn's apprentice who wields a blue lightsaber. In the beginning of Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are in some sort of base where they're attacked by some droids and they escape via MTT. After they get off of the MTT, they arrive at the Naboo swamp where Qui-Gon Jinn saves the life of a Gungan named Jar Jar Binks, or as some people know him, Darth Jar Jar. Pretty wacky theory, but unfortunately not real. But hey, made canon in the new Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy, so nice. So after Qui-Gon saves Jar Jar Binks, they decide to go down to Jar Jar's underwater Gungan city, where they meet Jar Jar's leader, Boss Nass, and it's revealed that Jar Jar was actually kicked out. Yeah, and then they go to the Jedi Temple and discuss politics. I know, super boring, but they do. And then, of course, they go to Tatooine, and they need an engine, but they can't afford one. Well, they meet a young boy named Anakin Skywalker. You know him. You love him. He is a little boy living with his mom, Shmi Skywalker, who will eventually become Darth Vader, but not yet. And he decides, in order to help Obi-Wan Qui-Gon, he enters into the pod race. In the Phantom Menace, a pod race is an intense multiple lap race where the contestants are riding in giant pods, trying to get 3 laps done before everyone else, and the winner gets rewarded with a lot of money. Right before the pod race, Qui-Gon strikes a deal with the person who owns Anakin, who is Watto. And so if Anakin wins, he's free, and they get the money for the parts. But if Anakin loses, Watto gets the ship. So the pod race is on. In an intense battle between Anakin, Sebulba, and the other racers, everyone else seems to end up blowing up as Anakin reaches the finish line. Boom. And Anakin is going to be taken with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to be trained as a Jedi. He says one last goodbye to his mother, and also he meets a girl named Padme. Padme Amidala is a 14-year-old girl on Tatooine who, when Anakin sees, he immediately asks, "Are you an angel?" Of course, Padme is not an angel, but, well, she is the queen. Yes, she usually goes by Queen Amidala, but she was disguised as just a normal teenage girl on Tatooine. But yeah, Anakin doesn't learn that until quite a bit later. And speaking of a bit later, to the Jedi Temple for more politics. This movie has too much politics. And then, the Gungans are having a huge war with the robots. And it's a bit awkward, to say the least. And then Anakin hides in a ship, and he ends up flying into the air and blowing up a huge cruiser. Now this is pod racing. And then Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan meet a mysterious Sith known as Darth Maul. Double-bladed red lightsaber made for killing Jedi. And it is time for the Duel of the Fates. In this epic battle with epic music from John Williams, Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan fight for nearly 7 minutes. Darth Maul is just a menace, a Phantom Menace. But Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are standing their ground. Then some shield doors open and they run through, and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are right behind Maul. Qui-Gon and Maul get through, but Obi-Wan is stuck on the last one. And then Maul slices a hole right through Qui-Gon's stomach. That can't feel good. Obi-Wan lets out a scream of terror, and as soon as the door opens, he runs through, fueled with all the anger from Qui-Gon's death. He attacks Maul over and over, but Maul knocks him down the pit. But it's not over. Obi-Wan grabs on and he force pulls Qui-Gon's lightsaber into his hand. He jumps into the air, right over Maul, and slices him in half. Darth Maul falls into the pit and is dead. Well, he goes over to Qui-Gon. So Obi-Wan goes over to Qui-Gon and holds him in his arms. Qui-Gon makes Obi-Wan promise he'll train Anakin. And Obi-Wan says okay. And then Qui-Gon dies. Yeah, pretty sad. And then Palpatine is elected Chancellor. He's elected Chancellor, and Padme's a senator. And Qui-Gon burned in the pyre. He will be remembered. And that is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. You saw in the title how I said it was unsatisfying, and now I'll explain my opinions after that little recap of the story. Personally, I think there are only really two good scenes in the whole movie, and those are the pod race and the Duel of the Fates. Both those scenes were really awesome, but everything else was just pretty boring, and there's way too much politics for a Star Wars movie. There's not really another place where I can give a lot of credit, but overall, it's not my favorite of the movies. If I were to rank Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, on a scale from first place to 12th place, I would put it at 7th place. That sounds really good, considering that I said it was unsatisfying, but there are still some Star Wars movies that are worse than it, and I stand by that. Overall, The Phantom Menace was a decent movie, but it isn't quite what we needed to bring Star Wars back after 16 years. It was good. It was decent. But for the return of Star Wars, maybe it should have been a little better. And that is my analysis, opinions, and recap of Star Wars The Phantom Menace. And that is Episode 1 of Star Wars Analyzed. See you next week for my analyzation of Star Wars Episode 2. This is Roan Hayes Games. I'm out.